Our panelists, starting with closest to me, Douglas Emmerich, Senior Mining Engineer at Samarco. Next to Douglas is Juliana Drummond, Marketing Manager, LATAM, Hexagon. And next to Juliana, Eric Josephson, CEO of R Evolution, powered by Hexagon.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of them really interesting stories. So let's get started. Samarco has a long history of innovation, but the company was forced to stop operations for 5 years. And then when the company ramped up again, how did you reignite the innovative culture that you had? Because it's more important than ever.
Yeah, it is. We approach that by keeping the innovation that we have done in the past and keep doing it now. I mean, we innovated in the slurry, creating the first slurry pipeline in Brazil, and flotation of iron, a low-grade iron ore, and the conveyor belt mine for the system. So we keep using this technology that we created in the past, and that's a way that we use to show our current team to keep innovating. And we also have a dedicated team that engage the whole company in bringing innovation and creating something new, and looking out and bringing some more innovation to the company. So that's how we keep this culture. And actually, we have this team focusing the whole company based on 3 pillars, which is efficiency, growth, and sustainability.
Right.
So that's our pillars for innovating.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So what you're saying is you reminded people of your history of innovation.
Yeah.
So they realized that's their kind of place. And then you brought new people in as well.
Yeah.
New ideas. Okay, great. Juliana, you have some interesting experience, I know, with Alcoa in particular. Can you tell us the story here? Because it's quite inspiring.
Yes. So Alcoa is a bauxite mine in Brazil, located by the Amazon River. And I had the opportunity to be there last month and get to know the mine and all the process they are doing. And the interesting part is that they had our mine plan system for many years, and they were using the system for the planning, for the actual mine planning process. And they, over 2 years ago, they decided to incorporate the suppression and the rehabilitation processes into their productive process. So they went to our partners from Minas, which is the company that represents the software in Brazil, with this challenge, because they wanted to really have an integrated planning from the suppression to the rehabilitation. And they customized the software to serve that need. And it was very, very successful.
It must have sounded strange to some people, all right, that we're going to use the operational software to do something we always thought wasn't part of the operations, right? The rehabilitation.
Exactly.
But it was possible to do this and get good results?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Well, the larger issue there sounds like there isn't actually a conflict, right, between operations and rehabilitation. Is that fair to say?
In this type of mine, they rehabilitate while they are exploring the mine. It's not a regular type of mine that they do all the exploration before and they have to rehabilitate later. They do like a strip mining process where at the same time that they are suppressing a part of the mine, they are exploring one and they are rehabilitation one. So everything happens at the same time.
That's very innovative. That's really interesting. Eric, re-evolution.
Our evolution.
Our evolution. It can be all these things, yes. So, what is it? People need to know. What is it? What do you do?
Yeah, what is it really? So in 2021, we decided as Hexagon. Hexagon has 25,000 employees across the globe. Highest value tech company in Sweden. And we have capabilities, everything from your pocket, where it's nanomillimeter measurement in your iPhones, to that when we landed on Mars, that is with Hexagon software. we have all these, but how do we address the new most important segment for our planet? And that is to save this planet and saving us.
Right.
So we believe that this is the biggest business opportunity of the 21st century. And we decided to create a new venture within the group that we call Our Revolution.
Right.
So it's our revolution. We all come together as one, together with our friends here, and make a big impact. And that's how we create a revolution.
Right. So, how do you do it?
How? That's a big question.
Yeah.
You have to do things, and we do it very, very aggressively and fast. So the first thing we did was we acquired solar parks, make a digital layer on making them more efficient. So I have a solar park in Spain. We have green hydrogen facilities in Australia.
Right.
Desalination plants, because everything is about getting better water.
Yeah.
In south of Dubai, we
Yeah.
have that. And then we started to tag tiger sharks in the Bahamas and map up the whole area of the Bahamas seabed to make carbon credits, the new monetary of the nature.
Right.
And the last thing, and why I'm here, is that in February we launched Green Cubes, and you can see that over there. It's a new way to measure and reclaim forest, and that's why mining is extremely exciting to step into. And being here.
Right. So when you were listening to Juliana talking about rehabilitating as they do the mining, it must have struck a note with you. What did you think as you heard that?
Yeah, so if you see Alcoa or any type of mines,
Yeah.
they have it's a ticket to play, right? You all see it. If you're going to be playing in this area in the future, you can be the hero, or you can actually be the one that is considered to be the evil one
Yes.
in this scenario.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, mining has maybe considered to not be the hero,
Right.
but actually you are heroes,
Right.
because the rehabilitation happens at the same time as you have the mine.
Right.
And you are protecting these areas. What is needed, though, is transparency and visibility, and that's what we bring into the table from Hexagon and our partners.
Right.
If you can see it, you can believe it, and therefore the trust will come with it. So mining, you are the heroes.
A great message, right, for the whole industry. Douglas, this then relates to something I wanted to ask you about, which is Samarco's approach to what is called ESG. Where do you stand? What are you doing specifically about it?
Our strategy is very tied to ESG. I mean,
Yeah.
since from the past when we started like doing, for example, conveyor belt mining, no one else was doing that in Brazil, and a very few companies were doing that all over the world. But Samarco just started that, and we were leading that. And yeah, we have been tied in the past, and for the future, we are extremely tied to ESG. And what we do with like Hexagon's mine plan, the work that we have been trying to do with Hexagon is to improve our conveyor belt mining capacities and optimize it to actually use less trucks, you know. And that's some of our efforts in ESG, but we also work on very many other sustainability programs, like with community social licensing with communities and partnerships, and yeah, we're very tied. Our strategy is very tied to ESG efforts.
Yeah, and what is the effect on the overall financial performance of the company? Because a lot of people say, well, that's a cost,
No.
okay, we've just got to deal with it. What's your experience?
Oh, for sure, it's not a cost.
Yeah.
It's also very linked with profitability.
Right.
Because if we don't do well in sustainability, if we don't have, if don't invest money on sustainability, it is actually the opposite. We're not gonna get longevity on our operations. We're not gonna get communities engaged with us. We're not gonna get environmental licensing permissions from the government. So it's actually the opposite. And it also helps us reducing costs, because we at Samarco, we use 100% clean grid energy.
Right.
And when we increase conveyor belt mining, we actually save money because we use less trucks, we buy less diesel, and we also do good for the environment and reduce our production costs. Conveyor belts have are less expensive than trucks.
Right. So less capital needed.
Less capital needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric, when you hear this discussion, what are you thinking? The idea that it's not a cost, that it can actually create value. I know you have a view on this.
100%. And I would say I just copy paste what you just said. No, it's great to hear, right? But you can consider all this. It's a ticket to play. If you don't do it, you don't have a mine.
Right.
So is it a cost or is it revenue? Like, are you going to play in this game? You need to do it. And I sometimes divide that into 3 phases. You have an environmental monitoring. You have the reclamation that we talked about here. And you have the ESG reporting. That is, the mining industry is the ones that get hit first.
Right.
Of the new regulations coming with ERS4, CSRD in Europe, that is hitting all mining industry.
Right.
So if you don't act seriously here, you're going to lose it towards competitors and others. Or you might not even be able to operate your mine.
Yeah.
But then what I am excited about is, let's say, the new wave that is coming. Because you're doing a lot of good here, protecting the environment and actually reclaim it. And that's potential in carbon credits, in nature credits. It can be a new revenue stream for mines.
Right. When you are talking to client companies or potential client companies, do they resist this? Are they skeptical? Or do they understand pretty quickly?
I have been in the mining industry back in the days, and then I came back to it now. Right. And I would say it has been a big shift. It's always been there regarding the ticket to play. You have talked about the environmental licenses that you need to do, but the requirements in the mining industry has increased.
Right.
And the expectations are much higher. So if you don't use the latest and greatest technology that is available on the market, I think you can lose this race. So you need to shift the perception on the mining from what I said before, the negative to the positive, because you're doing good things. And it's the fundamental for the whole green transition that we have on the planet. If we don't get the minerals, we don't have solar parks.
Yeah. Juliana, did Alcoa go into this with a big picture strategy in mind, or did they start small and it expanded?
Yeah, it was actually a way that they found to follow their ESG strategy. So they are changing, and in a very positive way, they are expanding their technology and everything in order to follow that path. And of course, this is all connected to their ESG strategies globally.
Let me ask you something more broad, which is the specific areas. Douglas, we'll start with you. Specific areas where technology has played a particularly powerful role in the mining operations. What would be top of the list for you?
I would say safety.
Safety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Safety.
Yeah, makes sense. What's your experience, Juliana?
I agree a lot on the safety part.
Yeah.
But also, and it all connects, right? If you think about our technology, we have safety solutions that are embarked solutions, but we are also involving our portfolio and our reach to have safety to go beyond, and then you remove the person from the truck actually. So it's a never evolving thing.
Eric, you mentioned briefly the green cube concept, which you've got over there and which is really interesting to look at. Could just explain it a little bit? Because when you first told me about it, I didn't understand it, but now I do. Now you explained it and I understand it. What is the concept?
So the concept is, how do we give value to nature? If you look at an old forest, that has 0 value today. Right. If you cut it down to palm oil or if you have it for cattling, it generates value. Right. Can we, with the help of satellite, airborne, in situ LiDAR, make full 3D representation of it and introduce it in cubic meters. And for you guys as maybe Americans here, a cubic meter is the same size as you see behind you there. Then we bring that to the market for 10 cents per cube. Corporations then sponsor the most biodiversity hotspots on the planet. And that is to meet the new upcoming regulations on the ESG side. It's also from a thought leadership perspective and show that you're actually making an impact on biodiversity. Now we're moving beyond carbon credits. Carbon credits you can act on because you can measure it, but it's just a single piece of the puzzle. Now we're introducing green cubes as a way to also protect biodiversity. And now we can measure it in the volumetric approach with green cubes. And that is an opener for everyone, but also in the mining sector to get that digital reality that we get through green cubes, but then adding new potential revenue streams.
Yeah, so now it's possible to put a cost, to put a value on a cubic meter of old forest, let's say. Okay, so a company does that. They sponsor, 10 million cubic meters or whatever it is. Now what do they have that they didn't have before?
So we take the first ones that now we move beyond mining.
Yes, right.
But the ones that really jumped on this is the hospitality business. And you have been here on the different type of hotels. And when you step into your hotel, you could get a full visibility of what's happening in a specific rainforest on those cubic meters that your hotel room represent. Maybe it's 10 cubic meters. So welcome to, I'm making up a place, X hotel. Now, thank you for staying here one night. You have make sure that we are protecting the same amount of volume of rainforest for 1 year. And let's step into it. So on the TV screen that you usually have, you can go in and see the camera traps. You can see what's going on in those cubic meters that you've been part of sponsoring. Now we're cutting the connection from like where it's a feeling of what's going on the other side of the earth. You get direct, instant understanding what's going on in the rainforest. And with that transparency and trust, that can be used in multiple different ways. So that is there. We have now introduced on the Microsoft Azure Marketplace. So if you have Azure credits, you can opt into green cubes, and the list goes on. In the mining space, though, it's maybe not the interesting the cubic meters. It's the layer to have the digital model. And that is fundamentally shift compared to what is available in the market today. So that's why Koto in Brazil called me, Eric, we need it. And now we're here. Well, Koa, Marco, the whole family, we're all interested to make a big difference. Create more transparency and trust and leverage these digital reality models for multi-purpose. Planning the future use of the mine, have it for environment purpose, for rehabilitation. So we are very excited. And I think I've stepped into the hole of mining and I will never get up again. And it's exciting.
Well, that's exactly what we've been wanting to talk about, because what a change this has been over the past just couple of years. And you have all described it extremely well and really helpfully. So Douglas, Juliana, Eric, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.